Good morning and welcome to our panel discussion of female entrepreneurship here at Safari TV at the Startup Safari Frankfurt Rhine-Main. My name is Sarah Steffen, a serial entrepreneur, mom of two, co-founder of Freelancers and Friends, a community for freelancers based in the region, and permanently curious. So I got to be your host for the next 40 minutes, and I'm super happy and super excited to present our panelists today. Let us start with Annetta Weider, Dr. Annetta Weider, expert in law and finance and the founder and owner of your German company. Annetta, would you care to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, your German company is an international business who actually supports international founders and international businesses from all over the world coming to Germany and set up a company here, and also doing the business operations from Germany and from the European Union globally.
Thanks, Annetta. So excited you're here today.
Thank you.
Elisabeth Lüth, with a strong background in finance and insurance, currently on her learning journey, doing a master's in innovation management and working at the SAP Experience Garage. Ellie, what brings you here?
Hey there, lovely to be here. So yes, everybody calls me Ellie. I'm working for the SAP Experience Garage, and this is where I met Florian. And he asked me to be part of this discussion because actually I've done also quite a bit of research on the topic of women leadership since I was working in the finance industry, which you can imagine is not very female dominated. And yeah, I was leading a team of 80 people there, and I'm also supporting various startups around the Rhine-Neckar region as well with the Experience Garage of SAP as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Ellie. So glad you can join this discussion. And last but not least, Dr. Florian Feltes, Professor for Digital Leadership at the Exponential University of Applied Sciences in Potsdam and the co-founder of Sortify. Florian, what brings you here?
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, what brings me here, I think I was the second choice for this panel because Isa, she's in our research team. She should be here, so hi to Isa. And so then she asked me if I could be here instead of her to talk a bit about our research about female empowerment and talk about our startup a bit. So what we do with AI for human decision making. So that's the reason I'm here, and I'm super happy to be here.
Yes, we are too, even though you're a man. It's fine, you know, we're inclusive.
We tolerate.
Joking aside, a question to you all, but because you mentioned research, and I'm curious now, as usual, what is entrepreneurship to you? What are its characteristics? What did your research bring about? Do we need to differentiate between female and male traits? I don't know. Tell us.
So when you ask me, okay, what is entrepreneurship for me? I really like, so from the scientific standpoint, I really like the definition of Howard Stevenson, a professor from Harvard University, and he says entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without having really the resources. Yeah. And I think that's something that's super important for an entrepreneur, always going and strive for something, to create something and always push it a bit forward. So that would be the definition from my side.
It's definitely the idea and the innovation behind it. So if we talk about an entrepreneur, this is the drive, what's behind the person. Also, the person needs to have strength because of the very lack of resources, financial resources, and there are a lot of ups and downs and obstacles on the way. So definitely that shows strength when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, totally agree with this. So for me, like being an entrepreneur means being brave enough, bringing your ideas forward, being brave enough to stand for your ideas, for your visions, and making sure that yeah, you will like reach the world of what you want to innovate and what you want to bring out there. So of course, yes, you need to be strong enough for this as well, and also strong enough for being able to handle the ups and downs, because obviously they're gonna be some.
Okay, so we're talking about personality traits in a way, right? Also behavior maybe. And you mentioned research, and we had a prep talk, right? We talked yesterday. And I was really intrigued about what Florian was saying. And I think Ellie and Annetta, you were also really curious. So now it's time What did your research say?
Yeah, so what we did is we run one of the biggest research studies about female empowerment, but under the aspect of narcissism. So it's one of the biggest studies worldwide what we did. And what is super interesting is the higher you get, for example, in management levels, and also what we found under when we have focus on founders, yeah. What is super high is that the higher you are, the more really narcissistic and toxic potentially will find. What is kind of shocking message, I would say, yeah. And it's also we have significantly higher scores for men than for women, yeah. So when we come to this gender point. And I crunched some numbers yesterday just for this panel to give some insights about the entrepreneurial capital. So that's the positive side. It's things like resilience, self-efficacy, and generalized optimism. And what we find is that there's kind of from the stage from team leaders or from someone who really gets in a position of taking responsibilities, taking the lead, there we find significantly differences between men and women. So men have higher scores than this, but when we come up to the top management position, to founder positions, there we don't have the differences between this state likes, what we call, because they are trainable and they are developable. So, and I think that's a super important message to say, hey, the resources are there, but we really have to empower, especially women, when it comes to taking responsibilities in this.
Indeed, I absolutely agree. So females tend to be a little bit softer. Just from the biological point of view and the personality point of view. And in order to get them to the top, they definitely need to have a better, if not more, leadership skill. With W Launch, this is an ecosystem a connector in the tech industry. We actually have a program which supports female leaders, politicians, C-level executives, team leaders, managers, who not having lack of leadership skills, but to strengthen these traits in them, vision, mission, how to be agile, how have no ego actually when it comes to leader. So teach them how to lead better in order to reach better and higher goals. And this goes to the entrepreneurship as well, because female entrepreneurs, like from the statistic point of view, you guys also saw that like 10-15% of the startup and founders are females. So this definitely needs to be changed. Of course, definitely there's a complex issue and problem behind it, but and there are many points why females tend to represent themselves less on this startup or in the startup world. But yeah, so just to cut it short, definitely leadership skill is to strengthen in females.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's also about like the environment, like the people you talk to. Actually, when I was like founding a little startup in the finance industry as well, I was like, yeah, pretty much the only one like in my group of friends who was founding, and everybody was like, "Whoa, you really gotta be safe. You're a female, so you know, if you don't have a boyfriend on your side who's like earning a lot of money, so you need really a secure job. Why are you doing this?" Because I was working for Allianz, of course, I had a secure job there, but I really wanted to like have my own thing, really wanted to found my own company, and there was like no other female I found that I could like talk to about, of course, the little ups and downs. And so when I had my little down, I was like, "Ooh, okay, what should I do?" And so what I really found in the end was like a few different groups of people, and with very few females there as well. And so what I realized, you just need like the environment, like people who like talk you out of your little hole. You will always get into a little hole, but you need people around you who support you. Who understand that it's always like an up and down when you found something, and it's a bit more risky than just being in a big company. So I think what you really need is a big network behind you who will support you.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't jump to the other topic, but I definitely agree. That's why we need more role models in every industry, female role models, and we have to show them. For example, I'm an executive partner of Women Who Inspire Rhine-Main, and this is an empowerment and inspirational initiative for females, not only from females though, and not only for females, but we show real top management level C executive females who can actually teach the audience or just inspire the audience through their history, through their career level. And it's very important to form a community indeed, just to bridge this gap.
Okay, thanks. Sorry. So you were mentioning figures and facts, right? Women tend to found less. They tend to be underfunded, if at all. They tend to found side businesses instead of a full-blown company right away, right? And is this, I mean, we've heard the resources, like the inner resources are actually there. They're just, you know, not displayed in the same way. So, I mean, as an ambassador in the Rhine-Main region as well, what do you think? What is it like in the Rhine-Main area? Have you, I don't know, have you examples of where maybe a woman was like, oh, I don't know, I just tried to start it on the side, or I don't know, like what is happening here?
Right, so this question is more complex. So when we approach this question from the personality point of view of a female, they, if you all read the female founder study, it says that females tend to have and co-found the company without anyone. So they found themselves only, and they do not tend actually to aim high. So that's the first thing which needs to be changed, but depends again on the goals of a female, right? So, and you cannot change it, like every people is different. On the other side, on the funding side, there is problem with the system, I have to say. Why? Because for example, for these couple of years, like for 2 years, 19 and 20, there was from the European Commission about 2 billion euros of investment, but this got from the Innovation Fund, and they've given this money only to those VCs who were already known or who they were already working with. So basically, eventually, female-funded VCs didn't get money to found female companies, for example. This could be one of the reasons as well. So maybe we need to dig deeper. Why is that, and what needs to be changed? W-Launch, since I'm ambassador for W-Launch, also in Frankfurt, we try to bridge this gap, meaning we bring money and ecosystem together and put everything to the table. We represent ourselves in the EIC, so the Innovation Council, where we are jury there. So we make sure that females will get funded. Especially if the audience and also you just check in the Horizon 2030, that gives you plenty of insight how much, so like 100 billion euro will be go out to the ecosystem, not only here in Germany obviously, but in the European Union and beyond, but 100 billion euro between 2021 and 2027. So I definitely encourage all the females out there to get out, to speak investor language, be comfortable on stage, and yeah, just go for the funding.
You heard Annetta, go get it, ladies. Speaking about investor language, being comfortable on stage and this apparently deeply rooted structural imbalance, right? Is it, I don't know, does it relate back to your research? I hear narcissists and I think, well, I'm not giving my money to somebody, you know, that's not me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's so many research out there that really shows, okay, that narcissistic people really are on the short term, they can be very successful, yeah, because it's like their inner drive and they have to do it to show the world how great they are, for example, yeah. And but on the long term, and that's something what is really interesting, is that it's absolutely risky to have these people in the top management positions, because they can really be a threat for the whole organization, because of fraud, etc. Then the results are not in line with their expectations, and then everything starts what you don't want to have, and that's something what we work with a lot of investors by helping to analyze startup teams and to help them make kind of better investment decisions. And that's something that is really interesting if you look, for example, to teams where female founders are included, to diverse teams. They are much more resilient, they are much more robust when it comes to crisis, they are much more successful. And so that's absolutely something we definitely have to focus. And one point, maybe what you mentioned before, the point was that they found on their own. A lot of female founders, entrepreneurs. What we see also is that women tend to have higher scores in conscientiousness. So that means, okay, always striving for perfection, and especially when it comes to set up a company, to found something, it's always like, okay, 20-80%, like the fake it till you make it, even if I don't like it, and but that's something that really helps in the beginning, to be more comfortable and say, okay, I have an idea, I have a vision, and I go for it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's something that really blocks sometimes,
So I think to really be able to tackle that problem. So what I found, I was on a startup workshop last year from the Gründungswerkstatt Ludwigshafen, which is my university I'm starting with. And so one of the things I realized there is also really the mindset, that really totally the same case for me. I'm super perfectionist, and what
Very
I learned
important.
there is we just we opened imaginary startup, so we could do everything wrong, and that imaginary startup is sort of like a side project that I'm actually doing at the moment. And I realized really maybe sometimes it really helps if you really say it's just an imaginary thing, and let's just play around with everything and really just try to speak about it, really try to make it sound bigger than what it is, and then you actually will find a way how you can get there. And it was the same thing for me. And so this is maybe a technique that maybe could be used to empower especially women more to leave the whole perfectionist thing a little bit to the side until you actually get there. And so in that group of people, for example, we were 30 people in the workshop, and we had 20 women, but they're only at the beginning they were just saying, okay, let's just listen to the guys, what sort of idea they had, and some of the ideas really weren't good at all, really not good at all. That they really were just a bit too shy to really talk about it. What was their vision? Why did they want to do it? And if you really made sure that they had a little chance to come out of their nutshell to just talk about imaginary stuff, it really worked out super well for them. But it really needed that sort of break, saying, hey, it's just an imaginary thing. We're all doing imaginary things here, so we can talk openly about it without being embarrassed or anything. So that worked super well. So what I'm thinking is maybe for the empowerment thing, to really have sort of more workshops, a workshop sort of style that you can get into it, and just really do the more trial and error thing, and just see, okay, how can we actually do this? And in the end, I think this is how you're gonna get there, to get more women into entrepreneurship as well. My perspective.
So if you guys in the Rhine-Main area, this is a very nice place to be, since Women Who Inspire Rhine-Main is here, who actually have this community as well as W Lounge. So just come and join us.
So do you also offer workshops, or is it a community, or what do you do then? Because
so
it sounds like the place to be now.
Exactly right. So Women Who Inspire Rhine-Main is definitely the community who, as said, inspire and empower females to go on this entrepreneurial path. Very important. And also this is a platform to exchange experience and to strengthen each other. Women, females tend to have more doubts, boost the self-confidence is super important, and therefore we have the community. Also, we do workshops with W Lounge. Workshops, actually this WDL, this their leadership program, which is going on for C-level executives, politicians, and all this manager level females who actually want to take the next level and cope with the man-dominated world and be badass.
Yeah, maybe I can give you one example from the research. So we also interviewed some top leaders and women and men, and so there was one example that was really shocking to me. Yeah. And this woman said that she took a coach, yeah, because she wanted to go up this ladder. She took a coach to get trained on this exactly this behavior, what you find in this sea levels, yeah. So to be more, what you said, getting hard and all the things, and in the end she said, hey, she lost herself because it's not authentic, yeah. And I think that shouldn't be the way to support. Yeah, it's more like, okay, looking for the real role models, talk about your ideas, and there's so many people they are willing to help and believe in ideas. We had the same. We had 7 slides and an idea, and we talked about to our whole network, yeah, and we found people, they supported us because they say, hey, you are so passionate about what you're doing and we believe what you're doing. And I think that's something that's absolutely, if it's to men or women, if you start talk about your idea and share it and get people involved, and you don't have to do everything on your own because it's not possible. Yeah? It's always like go with a team and find people to support you.
Exactly. But when I say badass, I don't mean that females needs to get in very strong or tough. What I'm saying is that females needs to be also assertive, also team players, also like, have a clear message and a strong message in order to lead a company, in order to talk to investors, in order to, just be on top. And that's where leadership skills come in and say that, okay, I have a coach, but depends on the goals, right? This woman's goal was like to adapt and adjust to the management board, which was dominated by male. Therefore, she got that result. But you can be an authentic leader with different goals. So,
and I wonder, I mean, your research shows that the resources, the inner resources are there, right? In the real world, so to speak, right? What is happening is that women don't speak up. They're not assertive. They don't go out and share their ideas. And is that maybe, I mean, thinking back and looking at education and stuff, is that, I mean, women are generally told to be nice?
Would be, actually.
Is that still, I mean, does that still relate onto, growing up and then feeling the need to become, I don't know, maybe Margaret Thatcher, being almost male, very strong and sitting there like that? Exaggerating.
I guess it could be. So I wrote my bachelor thesis about women leadership, like how you can become like a leader. And I interviewed 450 different women in like different positions, like entrepreneurs, but also just like in some managing positions in like various companies. And so what was significant is that every woman said, well, I sort of feel like I have to adapt. Like, so in the finance industry, it was really common, like as a team event, you go and like you watch soccer and you drink beer. I don't drink beer. So this is where the whole problem started. It wasn't really a problem for me because I still felt comfortable. But I really felt like most of the women who came into the job and tried doing this sort of position as well, that they really felt uncomfortable with the environment. And so what I realized is you have the expectation because you see the other man there and you see, okay, well, if they all behave like this, maybe I should behave the same way. So I think it's sort of just something that you're expecting, but I think if there would be more women there, or you meet women who are in the same position, the same role, this way you would realize, well, I don't think you need to be a man, you need to drink beer and watch soccer, and I'm still not doing it, and I won't. So
yeah, I mean, definitely this is the case, but if you look at from the other perspective, if you enter to a team or to a company, they already have an established culture. So you definitely need to adapt, right? But being a leader or a female at all, you create your own authentic behaviors and ways to cope with the others. So the matter of communication, which is the key here. So definitely, even if you don't want to adapt and just have the same habits as the management board has, you can create your own, right? So this is another way to go. But definitely, I mean, women tend to cope with this very strong manly behaviors when it comes to that.
Yeah, so that's, for example, what Isa is writing her PhD about at the University of Friedrichshafen. And so she talks about the moral aspects of why women don't make the step, maybe, because so then you change the perspective a bit. Yeah, it's like getting the women out of this victim position, say it like this, yeah, because then it's really a question of is it in line with your values or not? Can you deal with it? Are you willing to deal with this? If it's not in line with your values, how do you behave then? Yeah, and I think, and that's super important to create kind of awareness that this toxic culture is a huge problem. Yeah, it's also in corporates, and it also when it comes to investors. So investors have to be much more aware about what is the consequence if you invest in companies with kind of super narcissistic management board. Yeah. And if we talk about sustainability, if we talk about creating good cultures, then we have to focus and invest in teams with diversity, with values, and all these things. And from my perspective, a lot of investors, when we go back to the startup ecosystems, are not aware about the consequences investing in super narcissistic entrepreneurs, for example.
And you said earlier your company is helping investors making better choices and identifying teams that are more likely to succeed. How exactly do you do that?
So what we use is we created an artificial intelligence what is able to read text and doing kind of text analysis. Yeah, and we ask founders, for example, several questionnaires, and they have to type it in. How would the perfect team look like for you? How do you cope, for example, with problems? And then based on how they write and what they write, we can analyze different psychological dimensions. So on one side, the we call it kind of bullshit filter. Yeah. So things like narcissism, Machiavellism, so the dark triad, yeah, it's called like this. And also the positive side, like the entrepreneurial capital. So that are really the resources. There are super cool studies out there that these are really the factors that helps you to be entrepreneurial successful. Yeah, and so then if you're aware of this, then you can make different decisions. Yeah.
But I jumped in and you were wanting to say something, Ellie.
Oh, no, that's all right. This is really interesting. We did this test on our team as well, so this is like where I'm like I heard the idea, I was like, hey, well, it sounds really interesting, let's do the test. And so what I found really interesting is that really like out of like a few sentences that you can write, you really like find like a full analysis about yourself. And I was like, whoa, this is a bit scary, but it was really good. What I'm wondering right now is, would you like ask like companies that you would like to invest to like in, for example, to do this sort of test? So what would be your vision to identify like how do you know that you have like a narcissist like on the top? Like, do you see it, or how would you know? Because I want to know.
I think that shows from outside, right? I mean,
many
more or
of
less,
them,
you know,
many of them, yeah, many of them.
If you talk about startups, I think it's in the US it's quite common that you run through different assessments, that you get a coach beside who's working with you, and in the end it's like that's what Warren Buffett always says: risk is coming from not knowing. Yeah, and in the end, then it's the decision of the investor. Okay, to go take the risk. Yeah, and maybe give a coach on site or be aware of this. But if you are not aware, then you don't know what will happen. Yeah? So you can check for the track record, you can check for the product, market fit, etc. But in the end, it's in these early stages, it's the team what counts. Yeah, it's the people behind. Yeah?
Exactly.
And if you get a bit more insights about them and help them, for example, work as a team as well. Yeah, so. That's the other side. It's not only like doing this negative selection. It's always like, okay, help people work together or building better teams. Like we call it instant high performance teams. Yeah. So how can you help teams being instantly high performant and really continue this? No?
What is it like at the SAP Garage? Do you have diverse people there? What is it like?
Very diverse, I'd say. So we just did a workshop like 2 days ago, and so our team is like the most significant thing about us is that we're like super fluid. So we consist out of like 20 like working students all over the world, and so we're working with like people in Australia, India, America, and Germany, and like as you can imagine, very diverse. So language-wise, also like work-wise, and so for us, what really shows like what came out of our test as well is that like we're like a very special group because we're all like little entrepreneurs and we want to like invent new things every day. And so for us, it's actually really interesting, and we can really like put all our ideas into like the different projects we do. And so for example, we have like a lot of different startups around like the Rhine-Main region, but also internationally. And so what we organize is like pitching events, for example, and like we help them getting their idea out to like the SAP world, but also to the SAP environment. So yeah, for us, it's actually really, really great. And like we all like have like the entrepreneurial spirit of us. And which for us means that we have the environment. So if I feel, okay, well, we as a team, we need some sort of coach, we contact people like 45, and then we get them in and they coach us, for example. And so
Or W Lounge.
or them, yeah. Now that I know them. Yeah, so for example, like for us, it was really like, well, we're like a different like group of people, like we're super diverse. Everybody has like the interest to like found something, to do something. And so when we sit together and when we have our team events, for example, like I don't think I know any team event that we didn't come up with like a new idea what we could maybe do. And so for us, it's really like, again, the environment thing that we like, we really like encourage ourselves to like found a startup within SAP, or so maybe in the outside, or with like partners of SAP as well. And so for us, it's really a great chance to like put all our ideas in. But we also, of course, have the help of coaches. So whenever we feel like we need somebody to talk to, we have our teammates. We also have like a big circle of like people within SAP or different startups who can support us. And we're really free and open. So I feel like I'm working in a startup within SAP is what my feeling is with the Experience Garage.
Wow, thanks for sharing. That sounds like the ideal environment, right?
It is.
Yeah, who doesn't want to join, right?
Any job offers, open
right?
positions?
In the comments below.
Yeah, please do.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a bit cut off from the time right now, but we're having such a great conversation.
We talk
Yeah.
till they stop us.
Yeah, let's
You're
just do
online,
that.
just
Let's
go.
do that. We can just continue
but
all
look,
day.
Yeah, right. So, but going back to female founders and entrepreneurs, I really find those necessary message just to put out there, how important it is just to get off the couch, go out there, be part of a community, just prepare yourself for real life investor pitches if you want to think big or if you want to grow. Get connections and have those leadership skills which actually make yourself and make your life, business life, much, much better, which going to take you to the top. Definitely. That's my message for all the females out there. And if you guys need any support, just come to me anytime.
She's the expert. This all sounds right, you know.
I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, and really, I think surround yourself with the right set of people. Like, if you, of course, surround yourself with people who are like really scared of doing it. I mean, why would you possibly like get new ideas? Because like, if the people around you are too comfortable with their daily life, obviously you're gonna get a little more comfy as well. So I think it's really important that you join those sort of like offers and networks to really, even if you don't have an idea right now, if you feel like you really wanna, you have to sparkle in yourself, then make sure you go to those sort of events and just surround yourself with the people, and like, yeah, you will have that sort of spirit coming with it, and you will get more creative and to, yeah, also like found your own thing. So doesn't matter if you have the perfect idea right now or not, you get it with the people as well.
And also you can join people who have an idea, right? Because
Yeah, totally.
you might not be the one with the vision, but you might be the one who can bring something else to the table.
Right.
And you need a team. You need diverse people on your team. And so go to those networking events. I can also recommend it. It's always fun. Like here, Station
Yeah.
also does these a lot.
All right.
So But I was thinking about the values involved, right? It kind of reminded me of what it takes to found a company at all, right? You need to find your why, you need your values, you need, a vision and a strategy. And it's the same if you just decide, I want to be somewhere else. I want to become a leader. I want a true leader in the sense of new leadership. So it's not too far away, right, for men or women if they just follow their values. Anyway.
So, from my perspective, what you said, you have to know your why, and all these values, etc., is coming then afterwards. So the most entrepreneurs I talk to, it's not like they're sitting at the couch at the table and saying, okay, I want to found a company, and now I think about, okay, what could it be? Yeah. So normally it's like, okay, you make kind of experience. Yeah. For example, when we founded our company, I applied for a job in Copenhagen. Yeah, and using IBM Watson. They have also kind of text analysis. Then you couldn't hand in a whole application and the recommendation set and everything what you did over the last year. So it was like, okay, so how can I differ from the others? And then I used this tool and created profiles of the founders, yeah, and create my own one and said, hey, look, I'm the perfect match for you, yeah. And then I tracked the website and handed in, and after a while I realized, okay, they checked it, and then we had this call because I said, hey, I can tell you what profile belongs to what founder of you, and by the way, I tracked the application so I know that you read it. And then we had this call, and there were two people sitting like the two of us, but like this, and okay, why did you do that and how? Yeah, and then I said, okay, with these people I don't want to work, yeah. And then I explained it, and that was kind of the initial starting point for Sortify, because we thought, hey, that could be a game changer as well as an applicant, because you want to know as well who are you working with, yeah. And so then Marcus came and joined me, and he came from an investors conference where he was the psychologist on the table and screened the investment targets, yeah, like this, what we now do with the AI. And he said, okay, if we can match this technology. And then one came to another and we discussed it, and I think that's, and then really the why created for us, and we said, hey, when we can help to bring the right people to the right positions and create, we always call it asshole-free environments, yeah. So that's the only rule we have for our company, but if we can help other companies as well, so that's the why, and then the rest develops from this.
You said asshole-free environments. I'm allowed to swear on the telly. That's awesome. So, speaking of that, we're sadly now coming to a close, and there's not much time left, even though we could continue talking all day, and we might go for a coffee. What is the one thing that you would change, in one sentence, please, to enable women to feel as comfortable founding as men do? What is it, Ellie?
People around them. And also starting it very early. So I would actually, so my vision is to really start it in school. Don't start like when you're like 30 and like you might already have like a baby or two. Really start like bringing out this idea as early as you can. So really go into schools and like make sure that you just like give the trial and error thing, like do your, visionary startup thing, just like make people creative, or like give them space to be creative. So starting it early is one thing, give them a surrounding of the right people. And the coaching sort of comes with it, comes also with the people. So I don't think you need like one like expensive coach to like coach you through this. I think it's really the environment and that you build the groups of people around you.
From my side, the start early. Maybe we have in the audience also like a little bit older than 20 years old. I would say whenever you're in a stage of funding a company or just having your idea or any innovation out there, just join the communities, get feedback on your idea, exactly look for your why, and then once you have it all, just step out there, talk to investors if you think big, obviously, right? If you don't tend to have just a freelance business, and then just go out there. Sorry, it wasn't
nothing
a
wrong.
sentence.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
I think as a man I can say this. So I think it's a question of the mindset. Yeah. So if you think about a man watching 22 other men running behind a ball, drinking beer and shouting like kids. Yeah, so I think then women can be easily
do the same.
not do the same, do it way better. Yeah. So if you think
Or even
how many men messed up a lot around. Yeah. So I think it's absolutely just do it. Yeah? Go out and do it.
Exactly. Find a safe space, find a community, go out and do it. That's how we are going to boost female entrepreneurship in the Rhine-Main area. And I think we get 3 great guests. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your ideas.
Thank you.
I had great fun. I hope everyone else had too. Thank you.